Good morning, greetings, and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements in my practice where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your vitality and health and well-being and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more knowledgeable, you are more and more in control of your body, and you know you can overcome any health issue. That's why we are here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 29 years of practicing pharmacy, I've seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes and hypertension and obesity and skin diseases like psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, acne, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds. Recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle. But what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure, because the human biological system is always a healing system, always a regenerating system. It is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. It just needs the raw materials to do its work. The raw materials we call nutrition and nutritional supplementation. And it may seem like a miracle, but it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health or nutrition or prescription drugs, if you want to wean yourself off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, we can help you do that. 844-236-6010 is our number. If you read something, heard something, a friend told you something, you have a question about the longevity products or ingredients or formulations or anything about in the world of health and nutrition, 844-236-6010 is our number. And we welcome your phone calls. Try to call in early so we can get to as many calls as possible, 844-236-6010. If you want to purchase any of the longevity products, head over to brightsideben.com, criticalhealthnews.com, or also pharmacistben.com. You can order products right off the website. You can also call the phone team at 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470. You can also purchase Truth Treatment products, our retinol 5% gel or Truth Balm made with nearly 70%, over 70% fatty vitamin C. That's a lot of vitamin C, you guys. Truth Serum, Truth Balm, omega-6 healing cream. You can find out all about those, all about the Truth Treatment products at truthtreatments.com. All right, so we're talking fats, fat absorption, as opposed to water and water nutrient absorption. This is so fundamental to understanding how to use nutrition and nutritional supplements in a very predatory world. Unfortunately, the nutritional supplement business, the health business, the skin business is especially nasty. I got a letter today from one of my esthetician friends, and she wanted me to go over an ingredient deck with her. You guys, you got to be ingredient deck readers when it comes to assessing the value of a skin health product. Ultimately, it's how your skin looks after you use the product, but you don't get to make a buying decision after you see how your skin looks. You got to look at the bottle. The dumbest thing we do to determine how valuable a skincare product is rub it on your arm and say, "Oh, that feels nice." That's what most of us do. Do you know when you rub something on your skin and you rub your finger along what you just applied, you're feeling wax and oil? This is craziness. You're feeling wax and oil and silicone and water and preservative and fragrance, and then we make an assessment. Oh, that feels nice, and then we buy a product. This one in particular is so nasty. So my friend texts me this morning, "What do you think of this formula?" And I hate doing this because I know I'm going to be mean, and I hate being mean, but it's so egregious. This is a gal. My friend was approached by somebody in the skin business, she supposedly formulated the product. Listen, there's not a lot of formulators out there, okay? I'm telling you this as a formulator. When people say they created a skincare line, they mean they called Ben to make the product, and then they go out and market it, or somebody like Ben. So anyway, she says, here's my skincare line I created. No, she didn't create it. It's a stock formulation. Here you go. Ingredients: purified water. What the heck? Purified as opposed to unpure water. Cyclomethicone, that's silicone. Dimethicone, that's silicone. Glycerin, more silicone. Cetyl alcohol, beeswax. You're at 98% of the product, folks, at this point. And then you throw in your peptides and your shea butter and your green tea for 2 ounces for $73. All right, so if you do the math here, that's some expensive water. 2 ounces is 60 grams. 98% of it is baloney. So let's figure that out, okay? 58 grams of your 60 grams or so is bologna. You're paying for 2 grams out of 60 for $73, and it's not even really very active stuff, essential oils and such. Got to be an ingredient deck reader, because the folks who are making these products are not our friends. You got to find a healthcare advocate who loves the skin, who loves the body. If you're going to use nutritional supplements, or you're going to incorporate a nutritional formulation or a skincare formulation, you want to make sure that person who's formulating the stuff loves the body and loves the skin and loves you. And understanding key distinctions in chemistry is going to be vital if we're going to cut through the baloney. And one of the key distinctions, if not the key distinction, is fats and water. Fats and waters. In the world of skincare, only fatty nutrients are going to penetrate to the deeper layers of the skin. So you got to have fatty active material if you want to be in the viable tissue, in the stuff that's growing, in the stuff that's active. You got to be fatty. If you really want to create changes in the living tissue, which is underneath the barrier on the surface is water repellent. Watery material is just sitting on the outside. Only fatty material can bypass the dead cells on the surface. And when you use the vast majority, and by vast I mean 99.99% of skincare products, you're basically just softening the dead skin on the surface. Now, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. It's just that we collapse two very separate ideas. One is that if we feel some oily, waxy stuff on the surface, that we did something to our skin, that we created a health change in the skin. I'm telling you that. My main point here is you can't do that, but you got to understand fats and waters in order to see how this is true. Fats go through the skin, water doesn't. Pretty much as simple as that. Internally, it's a little bit different. Internally, the watery stuff has a more ready access to the blood than the fatty stuff. The fatty stuff is tricky internally. Internally, water-soluble nutrients, your B complex, your vitamin C, your electrolytes, potassium, calcium, magnesium, chloride, these are all easy for the blood to absorb through the digestive system, relatively easy. Still need to be healthy, but relatively easy. On the other hand, these water-soluble nutrients are excreted readily. And I've said this before. I said it this week. I'll say it again. I'll keep saying it because it's so important. Diabetes, heart disease, immune diseases, including cancer, are, if not largely connected, there's certainly a major relationship between our excretion, our elimination, and our ultimate deficiencies in these electrical nutrients. And it's why the BTT is so important. It's why Dr. Wallach and Richard Renton's formulation is so genius. It's a mega dose of liquid, water-soluble nutrients that we're all dumping out, that we're all excreting, especially if we're drinking lots of water, which everybody's doing today. You can do veggie juices too. This is one of the major reasons why veggie juices are so important. They're important for a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons is veggies are loaded with these water-soluble nutrients. And when you make a veggie juice, ideally keeping your fiber, you get a big hit of these water-soluble nutrients, electrolytes, B complex, C, and in the vortex of the blender, you amp up the electrical energy. It's all electrical. All about electricity. We've been talking about fats and essential fatty acids. That's electricity too. The cell membrane, the fatty cell membrane, is an electrical transducing device that changes chemical energy into electrical energy. Anyway, so your electrolytes, B vitamins, vitamin C, you can get them from the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Super easy to do. You can get them from veggie juices, a little bit more complicated. Veggies in general will do it. Sprouts are loaded with these living, active, vital nutrients. By the way, the water-soluble nutrients disperse as a living system dies. So if you're not eating fresh, even if you're eating veggies, but they're not fresh, you're getting less nutritional value when it comes to these water-soluble nutrients, which disperse once you pick the celery or the carrot or whatever it is out of the ground or off the tree. These electrical nutrients disperse into the atmosphere. So that's why you got to eat fresh. Sprouts, in particular, they're so fresh, they're living. You can throw in oysters into the mix. Oysters are living as well, and a wonderful source of these kinds of nutrients. Eggs as well, although they're not living necessarily. They're sort of a potential life depending on the freshness of the egg. Fatty nutrients, on the other hand, your EFAs, essential fatty acids, your phytonutrients, phytoestrogens, phytocoumarins, phytosterols, bioflavonoids, carotenes, pigments. Pigments especially are fatty. EFAs, pigments, vitamins D, E, A, and K, and minerals too. But the pigments, those are really, really interesting. And they have a very interesting, the fatty nature of pigments has a really interesting connection with the aging process, particularly skin aging. I'll tell you what I mean when we come back from our break. Okay, we are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. If you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, the longevity products, or if you have a success story you'd like to share, or if you want to contribute to the conversation, 844-236-6010 is our number. On the bright side, we're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific, 10 to 11 Central Time. And all the programs are archived at brightsideben.com, also benfuchsarchives.com. You can buy products off the website. Off the websites, also off my blogs, criticalhealthnews.com and pharmacistben.com, which we update regularly with news stories, as well as blog posts. Okay, so we're talking fats and water, water-soluble nutrients, fatty nutrients. The water-soluble ones are electrical. We lose them regularly. I suspect that water-soluble nutrient deficiency is a much bigger problem than anybody suspects, especially around electrical health issues, which is what heart disease is and what diabetes is. Diabetes is an electrical issue in the sense that it's an energy issue. Diabetes occurs when the body doesn't process energy correctly and doesn't handle sugar correctly, and the energy builds up in the form of sugar. The B complex is specifically, and chromium and vanadium and magnesium and the minerals, the electrolyte minerals, are one of their major roles is to help the body process sugar. Using your BTT, it's not marketed as an anti-diabetic formulation, but it is, based on the electrical nutrients, likewise sprouts and veggie juices. And by the way, always put salt in your veggie juice. The salt is electrical too. You'll amp up the electrical energy when you throw in salt. Same with spices. Spices are particularly interesting in the sense that spices contain water-soluble nutrients, but mostly, by the time it's a spice, those water-soluble nutrients have evaporated, have dispersed, and what's left is the oil-soluble nutrients. You see how this distinction between fats and oils is really fundamental. It's not just going off on being a chemist here. I'm not being Dr. Chemist or, Dr. Science. This is really relevant. It's not just, science talk. It's practical. So spices contain lots of oil-soluble nutrition, important oil-soluble nutrition. I was just reading today about turmeric. Every day almost, there's an article about turmeric. This one is from Dr. Blaylock. This is actually kind of a PR piece trying to sell you some turmeric, but apparently turmeric is important for brain health. No duh. It's not just turmeric, it's all herbs and all pigments. The good stuff in the turmeric is orange. It's called curcumin. It's part of a family of pigments called curcuminoids, and they're awesome, awesome, awesome. They're great for your skin. They're great topically on your skin. Orange and red is amazing topically on your skin. Do you know that orange and red pigments, which you theoretically get from food, I'll tell you why that doesn't happen here in a second, but oil and red pigments, if you get them from food or if you put them on top of your skin, can actually protect your skin from the sun. They can convert the sun's active energy into a usable, friendly energy. The reds and the oranges in particular. All pigments will do it, but especially the reds and the oranges. Eat your reds, eat your oranges. Here's the problem. Because these things are oil-soluble, again, you can see how it's important to recognize this distinction, because if you didn't know it, you'd think, oh, well, I can just eat my curcumin and my herbs and my spices and my veggies and I'll be fine. No. If you understand this distinction we're making here, you'll know that you better have a good fat processing you better have good fat processing digestion if you're going to exploit and leverage pigments. If you're going to take advantage of the reds and the yellows and the blues and the greens and all the colors, which are oil soluble, they're trapped in the herb and they're trapped in the plant, they're trapped in the veggie. If you're going to exploit these things, leverage them, take advantage of them for for health in general, but also specifically for wrinkles, for dark spots, for skin health, you better have a fully functioning liver, gallbladder, intestine, pancreas, stomach enzymes, all of it. The whole digestive system needs to be working, firing on all cylinders, especially around fat absorption. But you know what, guys? You can help your system work. This is especially true for women as they get older. When women get older, their fat digestion and fat processing system gets really whacked out, and that's because of the hormone estrogen. I was going to talk about bile and estrogen today. I'm not going to get a chance to, but suffice it to say, we'll talk about this tomorrow, talk about lecithin and bile. There's a super important relationship between bile and estrogen, and postmenopausal women are notorious for gallbladder problems and liver problems and bile problems. All of us as we get older, it's part of the aging process, but especially women as they get older, we all lose our ability to extract these fatty nutrients. So your ultimate enzymes are anti-aging on multiple levels. The lipase and the bile salts and the ultimate enzymes will help your body extract these pigments and extract these oil-soluble nutrients for your skin, for your liver, for every part of the body, especially for the skin, though. Now, if you are postmenopausal, or if you had a gallbladder taken out, or you got a liver problem, or an intestinal problem, or you're aging, I just covered 95% of us, you'd be smart to help the body extract these oil-soluble substances from your veggies. How do you do that? Well, you can use oil. Oil goes into oil. Like dissolves like. So by using butter or coconut oil, you can pull out these pigments. You can pull out the fatty vitamins. You can pull out the essential fats. You can pull out these fatty minerals, or at least start the process. You can, in essence, start the digestive process in your pan or in your steamer before you actually eat the food. You pre-digest the food by using a little bit of butter, using a little bit of coconut oil. You don't want to overcook things, but just a little bit of steam or a little bit of braising will help release those pigments for your skin and for your liver and for your brain and for fighting cancer. It'll help release the fatty vitamins. Now, you don't want too much heat, but you'll help release these nutrients by mixing them with a little bit of oil, mixing your Brussels sprouts, your broccoli, your radishes, your beets, your spices, all of it with a little bit of oil and a little bit of heat. The combination of oil and heat will help pull out the fatty substances, the fatty nutrients. You can also use other oil-soluble material or oil-extracting material. One of the best is lecithin. I love lecithin. Pam, by the way, cooking spray is lecithin. And you can get lecithin anywhere, pretty much, health food stores or, on the internet. Lecithin is readily available. If you mix it in with your curcumin or your turmeric, the curcumin will come out more readily. If you mix it in with the beets, the blue pigments and the red pigments, the xanthins and the carotenes and the cobalamin, cyanocobalamin, which is purple, that's vitamin B12, that will also come out more readily. And again, this all comes from understanding the distinction between water-soluble and fat-soluble. Anything we can do to improve fat absorption is going to increase our lives. And that means chewing and working on digestive enzymes in the stomach and using betaine HCl and using apple cider vinegar or maybe pepsin, by working with the pancreas, pancreatic enzymes, by using probiotics. These are all wonderful strategies for keeping the body's fat absorbing or fat processing machinery operating on firing on all cylinders. Same with the gallbladder. I know I say it all the time, but it's so important. Nothing expresses our collective ignorance about how our bodies work than our willingness to have this thing taken out of our body, taken out if we're in pain. Now, I'm not saying that anybody should be suffering with gallstones. It's miserable, and sometimes you don't care. You just want that thing taken out. But if you're shy of an emergency, you want to keep your gallbladder, and you're not going to get any participation in this from your doctor because they don't think it's important. I've had physicians tell me to my face that there's no proven need for a gallbladder, and you can live just fine with this. This is the medical dogma. You can live just fine without a gallbladder. Dr. William Brugge, MD, Associate Professor of Medicine at Harvard Medical School. Most people don't notice anything, and there's no real change in digestion after having their gallbladder removed. Thank you, Doctor. From the journal Steroids, 2014, August 2014, bile acids are nutrient signaling hormones. Interesting. Now we know that bile is not just for digestion. Bile is not just for breaking up fats. Bile is not just for detox, all of which are very important, but bile also signals cells to take in nutrition. They actually turn on open up the gates in a cell, much like insulin. They work with insulin, actually. So bile from your gallbladder and your liver is important for helping your cells get nourished, among other things. We'll talk about all this tomorrow, and we'll talk about how you can build bile, make more bile. And if you got your gallbladder, keep it, no matter what your doctor says. Doctors believe that, this is from this guy, Dr. Brugge from Harvard. He says, most animal species in the world don't have gallbladders, and your gallbladder is an organ you can live without. That's the medical dogma. Anyway, if you're listening to this program, you're smarter than your doctor. Not necessarily smarter than your doctor, but you understand more about chemistry than your doctor. That's the problem with the medical model. The medical model is about clinical chemistry or clinical treatment. It's not about chemistry. It's about treating your symptoms in the clinic. That's why if you really want to understand health, if you really want to stay healthy, or if you're not healthy and you want to get better, find a chemist, find a biochemist, somebody who understands the biology of the body, the biochemistry of the body, I should say, how biology affects how things are made. This is where, we talked a lot of chemistry today, practical chemistry. This is why it's important to understand fat and water and salt with your veggies and pulling or salt with your veggie juices and pulling pigments out by using a little bit of oil and heat. This is all chemistry stuff that your doctor doesn't know. Not that I'm ripping on doctors, but it's just not what they do. That's not their specialty. Their specialty is getting you out of pain if you got a gallbladder problem. So it's not so much on doctors being boneheaded about chemistry, although they are. It's the arrogance of doctors. That's really what gets me, is the chauvinism. And they're trained that way. So if you've been listening to this program for the last hour, or last half hour, I should say, and you understood what we're talking about with oil and water and the distinction and bile, etc., you know more about chemistry and you know more about health probably than your physician. And that's what the purpose of this program is. It's to get us to understand more about health than our medical model is telling us. Anyway, our number today, 844-236-6010, 844-236-6010. We'll continue talking bile and building bile and fats and water and fat-soluble nutrients and hormones and the skin tomorrow as we continue talking skin health on the bright side. Okay, let's go to Paul in New York. 844-236-6010 is our number. What's up, Paul? We left you hanging yesterday, huh?
Yeah, a little bit better. Thanks, but just real quick, I had a I've been off the gluten for a while. Something got in me a couple of months ago. Had a really bad reaction. I had raw skin behind my knee.
You said you got off the gluten?
I've been gluten-free, but I ate something. I think I had some cross-contamination from something I got at a pizza parlor.
Did you get into an allergic reaction kind of situation? Is what you're saying?
Well, the doctors will say I had eczema and psoriasis, but then I scratched it really bad, and it's just been really, really bad.
All right. Well, here's the deal. Let me help you take care of that.
Okay. Let me tell you a couple of other things real quick.
Real quick. I got a bunch of calls I want to get to.
I got you. I ended up going, just for lack of anything to do, I ended up at a dermatologist. He gave me Actylate, and I got an allergic reaction to that.
You got an allergic reaction to the medicine for your allergic reaction. How do you like that?
And then I had most of the gluten was on my back and my legs. Now all over my chest and my back, I have hives and all that kind of stuff. My belly button kind of got infected.
Okay, I don't need any more of the grim details. It sounds awful. Okay. Here's what you need to do. First of all, that's your penalty for going to the doctor.
I didn't really want to. And
okay, all right. Anyway,
I'm trying not to go back.
Okay, well, lesson learned. Here's the deal. If you have an allergic reaction to something and you're miserable, get some Benadryl, okay? You get it at the drugstore. It'll make you sleepy, so you want to, you don't want to be driving or doing it. You might not feel like going to work. Not everybody gets sleepy, but that's one of the side effects, but it will take care of the emergency, an allergic reaction. Now, if it's a serious allergic reaction, you got to be careful. You can die from an allergic reaction, so you want to be careful with allergic reactions. So if it's just itching or some kind of skin issue, get some Benadryl. You can also get a Benadryl cream, and you could use that topically. Now, if you're thinking, well, what is Pharmacist Ben talking about this stuff for, these drugs for, sometimes you need them if you're miserable, okay? I'm not Pollyannish about this thing. Sometimes you need what you need. Sometimes you need an antihistamine. In the long run, however, the skin is a fatty organ. It's extremely responsive to fats, essential fatty acids in particular, and when you're deficient in EFAs, okay, and that could be you're not taking them or you're not absorbing them both or together.
I've been taking.
It could be not absorbing, and I don't know this. I'm just going to give you this information. You do with it what you will, and for the listeners.
Right.
When you're deficient in EFAs, your skin becomes much more vulnerable. It becomes much more destabilized. So this is where eczema and this is where psoriasis come from. What you're talking about with eczema and psoriasis is you're talking about destabilized skin cells. The cells are not growing correctly. They're not moving correctly, and this can very well, given the way we eat and our collective digestive problems, very well be related to problems with essential fatty acids, because we know when EFAs come out of the diet, skin problems ensue quickly, especially flakiness, especially poorly growing cells, especially excess cell, all kinds of cell growth problems. So EFAs, high doses, make sure you're using them with your ultimate enzymes, with some apple cider vinegar, probably with food. Now, we spent a lot of time today and yesterday and tomorrow also about bile. So working on bile is important. That means making sure that your liver and your intestine are working well. Probiotics are unspeakably important. Anything you can do for intestinal health, really. If you have any intestinal problems, those need to be corrected. That is the whole food diary thing that we always talk about. And then make sure you're taking your fatty vitamins, particularly A and D. A and D are the two most important skin health vitamins, or fatty vitamins. C is in there too, but it's not fatty. But from a fatty perspective, A and D are incredibly vital for skin health. And doctors know this. They'll use A and D for psoriasis as a treatment for psoriasis. They'll use A and D for a treatment for acne. They'll use A and D as a treatment for eczema. These are all indications for medical A and D, but you don't need medical A and D. You can get out in the sun. You can use your ultimate EFAs to get some D, or fish oil to get some D. You can use organ meats to get your D, although I like the sun the best. You can also take D supplements if you want. Then there's also vitamin A, 20,000 IU of vitamin A for all skin issues. No, for everybody, for all human beings, need to have vitamin A in a supplemental fashion. It's your building vitamin, particularly important for the skin. And then in terms of minerals, zinc is probably the most important mineral for skin health. Selenium is right up there. And then there was one more that I was going to tell you, which I forgot what that was. All your antioxidant nutrients, of course. Oh, yeah, the B complex and vitamin C. Fatty vitamin C, and then the B complex. If you can find topical pantothenic acid, that's probably the most important topically. Actually, niacin, which is B3, and B5, pantothenic acid, or panthenol. You may have seen panthenol in shampoos, Pantene shampoo. That takes advantage of vitamin B5's effect on skin, hair being a type of skin, kind of, sort of. Of course, you can't really do anything for hair because it's dead, but panthenol is used in the skin and hair business. You may get some topical benefits from that, pantothenic acid, I should say. And then also niacin, vitamin B3, niacin. Niacin is really interesting in a lot of ways, but it's also got some nice skin health benefits. Paul, I got to let you go. Got a bunch of calls I want to get to. Thanks for your call. Appreciate it. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after
this. Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Okay, we're back on The Bright Side. 844-236-6010 is our number. Lisa in Florida. Good morning. What's going on?
Yeah, my 84-year-old mother-in-law, she had a stroke about eight months ago, and she's paralyzed pretty much on her left side.
How old did you say? Did you say 84? Okay, she's paralyzed.
She was in really good health, and then she had high blood pressure, so they put her on blood pressure medication, and then they put her on statin drugs. And once in a while, she took antidepressants.
This is pre-stroke you're talking about?
Yeah, pre-stroke, and then she had a stroke.
Okay, well, here's the deal.
Thinking the medication gave her the stroke.
Well, no, she was falling apart before that, okay? But it's really important, and it's interesting and it's important, okay? And as somebody who's listening to this program, I know you're going to be interested, and everybody else listening to this program, you wouldn't be listening to this program if you weren't going to be interested in what I'm going to say. And that is the fact that we don't have good assessments for whether we're healthy or not, because we don't know. Nobody just gets a stroke. Nobody just has high blood pressure. Nobody just has cholesterol problems. These are all part of a syndrome. And I'm not beating your mom up or you up or anybody up. It's just important that we recognize the fact that we're not healthy if we have something go wrong. You follow me, Lisa? It's not to beat you up. It's just so you can have some power here. If you think, oh, I was fine, and then all of a sudden this happened, you're not going to know what to do. It's going to be like it was random. It's not. The first thing is always food, okay? All disease is cell disease, and all cell disease results from dirty blood, period. I mean, I've been trying to think of how, racking my brain on how I can simplify this, everything we talk about here on the program, and it's this. It's all about the blood, and it's all... disease is a reflection of toxic, sludgy, dirty blood. How does the blood get dirty? Well, if you're an IV drug user, you can get it dirty through heroin or crack or whatever people shoot up. That can happen. I don't think your mother-in-law is doing that, okay? If you're working in a coal mine or something, you may be able to you may breathe some stuff in, and that can happen, but I don't think your mother-in-law works in a coal mine. So that leaves only one place, and this is the vast majority of this place is where the vast majority of stuff gets into the blood because it's supposed to get into the blood this way, and that's the digestive system. I'm not a food Nazi. I'm not beating anybody up about food, but she has to focus on that. Now, she already has a stroke, and that's unfortunate. And everybody listening, if you got one health challenge, it's to not get a stroke. Right, Lisa?
Right.
Right? I've seen it. I've seen people who, had vibrant lives and they had a stroke, and it's not good. So if you had a stroke, you can still mitigate the blow, soften the blow. She needs to get on the BTT immediately. When you hang up the phone, if she's not already. Is she already on it, or are you?
No.
You have it around?
No.
You'll change your life with the first dose. I'm telling you this as a healthcare professional who's observed this. You'll change her life with the first dose of BTT. This is a woman who probably hasn't had a dose of B vitamins in decades, a high dose of it. Okay? So get her on liquid. Hang on. I'm not going to get a chance to finish with you, Lisa. If I want to help you, but I'm not going to get a chance to finish. So let me say this because this is important. You can add years to your mother-in-law's life, and you can make it soften the intensity of her situation, of her predicament. So the B vitamins are incredibly important. You'll get those in the BTT. Same with vitamin C. I would be taking extra doses of vitamin C, by the way. Healthy Start Pack as well. If she has any issues with the digestive system, those need to be corrected. She has, as best as you can have her zero tolerance, she's 84, so you're not going to be able to do it zero, but it's close to it for sugar. And then chromium, vanadium, and lots of water after she's done eating sugary foods and sweet foods. Magnesium also, the sweeties. And then oxygenation. Make sure she's deep breathing regularly if she can. What part of her body was affected by the stroke?
Her left arm and her left leg.
Okay. Well, she can do her deep breathing then. Deep breathing will make a huge difference. Huge, 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 as Donald Trump would say. All right. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Did you have something else?
Yeah. I had ordered years ago the BTT, and it tasted so horrible to me that I tried to get everyone in the family.
No, dilute it. Lisa, dilute it.
Dilute it?
Yeah, dilute it. The taste is an issue because when they formulated it, they wanted to cover as many people as possible, so they made it intense. You got to dilute it. If it's too intense, that's not a reason to not use it because it's so valuable. Okay? Get her eating good, easy to absorb foods. Also, can be helpful. Sardines, herring, tuna fish, bone soup. How could I forget bone soup? Bone soup can make a huge difference. You know how to do that, Lisa?
Yeah, I've made it once before.
Homemade chicken soup.
She'll do chicken soup.
She will?
Doesn't like fish.
Okay, chicken soup. Homemade chicken soup. Homemade chicken soup. All right, Lisa, I'm going to move. Thanks so much for your call.
Okay.
Good luck and God bless. Okay, let's go to Jan in California. What's up, Jan? How you doing?
Oh, pretty good, Ben. How are you?
I'm good. How can I help you there?
You touched on a little bit of what's going on with me. I am 76, and I'm having stomach problems.
Okay, you sound
I've got
good.
Gas.
You're sounding strong there, Jan. You must have a good constitution.
Thank you. I've got a lot of gas, and the gurgling and the rumbling in the stomach all the time.
But you have all your organs. You got your gallbladder and all,
yes, I have my
all your
gallbladder.
intestine and all that. Okay. What other health challenges do you have? Not that I need. They're not important for reversing this, but just so I know, get a picture of what's happening.
I have a prolapsed bladder.
Okay. That's good. That's what I need. That's all I need to know. Okay, the prolapse is a sign that you're malnourished, probably secondary to the stomach problems. Okay, now if you're prolapse, you also probably have circulatory problems and blood vessel problems, etc. Okay, all that, exactly. So here's the deal. We got to get you built up. We got to turn you into a bodybuilder. Okay? First of all, as long as you have stomach problems, if I tell you about the nutrition, it's not going to be you're not going to be able to optimize the value of it because you're not absorbing. So you got to do a fast. Okay, you don't have a lot of time, but you got enough time that if you correct this, you got a good 30 years of living this. But you don't have a lot of time if you don't. So do it today.
Right.
Stop eating. Do a food diary. When you return to food a day or two after your fast, do a food diary, keeping track of everything you're eating. You want to notice specific foods causing specific problems. Simultaneous with that, get on the Biolumin Nightly Essence and start to enjoy fermented foods. Get a book called The Art of Fermentation. And just begin to become a fermented food aficionado. Apple cider vinegar with all your meals, the ultimate enzymes with all your meals.
Doing that.
The Healthy Start Pack, that goes without saying. And then liquefy your foods, especially protein. Liquid protein, that's because you're not building. The connective tissue problem, the varicose vein problem, I mean, gravity is taking its toll. You know, the prolapse issue. So we got to get you building, and that means liquid protein. Correct your digestive problems, and then liquid protein. Now, you're going to later on have to start working with your blood sugar, and then later on, not even later on, you might as well do that now. Start oxygenating and relaxing your body as much as possible. It will build when it's relaxed, and then get some resistance training in. And it doesn't have to be anything hard, just a rubber band. A heavy-duty rubber band can do it for you. It doesn't have to be anything intense, but you want to start building things. You want to turn the body into building mode. Right now your body's in breakdown mode. We got to reverse that. Now, that's not comprehensive because I don't have a lot of time here, but that's a huge start for you. And if you're serious about this, you can turn this thing around in 30 days or less. In fact, you can turn it around with probably within a couple of days.
When you fast, what do you use in place of food?
Air, water. You're fasting. That's what a fast is. There's nothing replacing food.
No,
read a good book.
Liquids or?
You can do water. You want to give your digestive system a food holiday. Basically, is what you're looking at. There's more, Jan. If you can call back tomorrow, or if you want to send me an email, we can work on the phone because there's a lot more. But that's a good start for you, and I want to get to a couple more calls. Okay?
Okay, Ben. Thank you.
God bless you. Have a beautiful day, Jan. Thank you for calling. All right, words of wisdom from the Truth Raider. What's going on, Truth Raider?
There's a correlation between pets and human beings that I found out, Ben.
Okay.
The difference between, we're both mammals in the same, and we both need each other. But the difference between us and, say, like the felines or canines.
What about reptiles? Are you prejudiced against lizards or something?
No, I just haven't accompanied any of those. So there's so much studies about them that are.
I know some lizards.
I don't get into it.
I know a few. I've been looking at Obama lately, and he's looking serpentine. I've noticed. Have you noticed that? His head is sort of. It does the serpentine thing. I don't know if that's true.
Those slanted evil eyes. Yeah. Anyway. They produce their own vitamin C, and what we do is we have to supplement with vitamin C. Well, about 3 weeks ago, my dear little kitty cat, Miss Pepperina, came down with a terrible flu, and she was reluctant to take any food in, so I used a little, like a syringe, and I put some BTT in there, and I forced it in her mouth.
Okay, all right.
And so that way she was able to get some mighty 90 nutrients.
And what did you notice?
Well, it took 2 to 3 days, but she snapped right out of it.
That's awesome. Cats need nutrition, too.
Absolutely.
Cats are especially dependent on taurine, by the way, the amino acid taurine. Thank you for sharing that. Truth Raider, I got one more call I want to get to. Thank you for sharing, buddy. Have a beautiful day, man. We're just out of time. I'm going to see if I get Rose in real quick. Rose, what's up?
Hi, Ben.
Rose, I got 60 seconds, sweetheart. You might have to call back.
Okay, I'm going to call you tomorrow, and I left you a message, so try to see if you can contact me.
Today you did?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'll contact you. Thank you, Rose. Take care. Have a good day. All right, that's all the time we have for today. Tomorrow we'll continue talking about bile and lecithin and fat absorption and more good health information that you're not going to hear anywhere else on the radio or from your physician or from the medical model. Check out my page, truthtreatments.com, if you're interested in purchasing any of our Truth Treatment products. And, of course, if you're interested in joining the Brightside Ben team, call 866-735-2470 or head over to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. We'll talk to y'all later, folks. Have an awesome, wonderful, beautiful day.